Hi, I'm Howard Kuntz with Apex Plumbing. We decided to make another video today. We've got 3 water heaters that we want to talk about and compare a little bit. We've got this old gem that we got out of a house. It's 1972. We think it still works. We've got this one, 2011. It's a Bradford White. Oh, by the way, this one is a Sears. You don't see those too much anymore. This one is a Bradford White. And then this one's brand new in the box, 2024, and they're all 40-gallon water heaters. We're gonna do some comparison on them, and we'll show you that in a minute. Let's talk about just a couple of the features of each of these. This is an older one. It has a very, very simple gas control valve on it. Warm, medium, and hot. It has a thermocouple, and it has a drain valve, and it's kind of got an open area here if you wanted to light the pilot, and the flame's open. It's meant for many years, for probably 60 or 80 years, they were almost the same. And then on this one, this is the 2011. It has a gas control valve that has a light on it that can flash. It has diagnostic codes that show you if something goes wrong, how to diagnose it. It also has a sealed combustion chamber. That means that it's more safe. If you had something flammable here, it wouldn't start a fire, even if it has fumes, because the way it brings air in from the outside, it goes through a little metal mesh and the flame can't go backwards through it. And then the newest ones are pretty similar. This one is the ultra low NOx. That's what's required in Utah. And so it has a very wide burner in it. It has a lot more wires, you can see, a lot more safety devices. It has more complicated, it's more complicated. It has a light that flashes, also a diagnostic code. These cost quite a bit more. And with all the different features and wires, there's more problems to deal with generally. Other than that, they do the same basic function. They both heat and store 40 gallons of water.
Okay, so for our first criteria, I guess, that we're going to look at is the weight of each water heater. Some of these used ones are going to have hard water in them and stuff, but we're actually going to cut them open later and look at how much hard water they have, and we're just trying to kind of get a baseline for each of them. So let's take a look at it. This is the 1972 one made by Sears, about 160 pounds even. It's weighing in at 121, right about. Okay, and we've got 123 about.
Okay, Seth got them all cut open for us. So we just wanted to compare a few things here. First thing I'm curious about, well, let's look at the insulation thickness. So just approximately, you would say that's 0.9 inches, you know, almost 1 inch, or 7/8 of an inch. The wall thickness of the steel here, and there is some buildup on it. This is the old water heater, the 1972. It's approximately 0.100 inches, 100,000ths of an inch, you might say. So a few interesting things is inside of here, there's a little bit of hard water buildup, not very much. For being used as long as it was, they may have had a water softener or something. There's probably 1.5 inches or 2 of hard water and buildup and sediment in there, but it's not crazy. We've seen some that have close to 1 foot in it. The other thing that we notice here is this is the anode rod. Actually, the anode rod is all spent, and this is just a wire that hangs down. An anode rod is a sacrificial metal that's usually made out of aluminum or magnesium, and it hangs in there, and its purpose is to supply, when the water comes in, sometimes it has, I guess for sake of a better word, hungry ions that are looking for something to satisfy their hunger, or their to make them neutral. And so what you want is for the tank to give up something so it doesn't attack the tank and rust it out. So this is sacrificial, it's used up. You'll see on the other one in a minute, it's thicker. This is just the metal wire that hangs inside of it. Usually they're probably 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Another thing that's interesting to note here is the diameter of this tube. The flame is underneath and it burns, and it goes up. The exhaust goes up through the center of here. So if you look at this, it's approximately 4 inches in diameter. So the flame burns underneath, and then there's what you call a baffle in it. See, the baffle's kind of wavy. That's to slow down the gases and the heat from rising too fast. It's to slow it down and make the inside of that tube heat up and help heat the water up. And then it goes up from here and into the chimney. First of all, let's look at this insulation. This is foam insulation. And oh, it's really close to the same. 0.9 inches, somewhere between 7/8 and 1 inch. The wall thickness of the tank, the metal, the steel that really counts, is close to the same, very close to the same. It might be 10 thousandths of an inch or less than a 64th difference in thickness. So it's very similar to it. Now let's look inside here. Here's the tube that goes up where the flue gases go up. Let's just measure it. It's a little bit smaller, it appears, than in the newer water heater. It's really close to 3 inches. The other one is about 4 inches. And then we're going to look at the anode rod. We talked about that before. That's sacrificial. This one is pretty intact. It's not all the way worn down. There's a little bit of hard water on it. And if you look in the bottom of this one, there's even a little less sediment than the other one. It's just got less than 1 inch of it. And then the other thing I didn't talk about, the other one is a little bit hidden, but here's the dip tube. What that is when the water comes in, the tank's full of hot water, let's say, and you turn on your faucet, you don't want the hot water, or the cold water, I mean, to come in and mix right at the top. You don't want it just to shortcut and go from the cold water over to the hot water. You want it to come down to the bottom of the tank, and it's colder, so it stays at the bottom of the tank, and then it pushes the hot water up, so you can use up the whole tank of water. The reason we use this old 1972 water heater is we hardly see any that are that old. And then this one here, even though it's about the same wall thickness, it's rare for us to see a water heater over 20 years old before it leaks. In this area where we're at, there's a lot of hard water. 15 years is probably a better average. Sometimes they don't even last that long. Almost all water heaters come with a manufacturer's warranty of 6 years on the tank. In today's prices, a water heater like this, including tax, is close to $1,000. I mentioned in the earlier part that we have ultra low NOx. That is a special burner that we're required to use in Utah, and it's kind of like a catalytic converter. It's to try to get the gases even cleaner, the exhaust gases. Back in the day, it would have been surprising if something like this would have been more than $50 or $60, or maybe even not that much, clear back in 1972.